People deluded, I'm back again now. Tomiyasu is injured. We haven't heard that before. The internet can be harsh, but I saw someone describe Tomiyasu as a Ferrari that doesn't leave the garage. You know, obviously it's a great car, it's great to look at, but if you can't put it into practical use, it is useless. Now, Tomiyasu in injuries is something where we've heard it before, quite frankly. And where you look at where Tomiyasu signed that new and improved deal, you can see he's a valued squad member. He's obviously a great player at Arsenal Football Club. We love the guy. You know, he's ball-footed. He's a great defender. He's, you know, one of the best 1v1 defenders that we have at this football club, but unfortunately can't stay fit. I actually personally think that's reflected in the length of the contract he got. Unfortunately, you know, the best ability you can have is durability, but I would say the best case scenario for Tomiyasu is at least that it's happened in pre-season, at least where obviously everything counts and we're training and we're trying to, you know, hit the ground running for next season, but at least it's happened now. Let me know your thoughts. I also indirectly wonder what this potentially means, depending on the severity of his injury, for Calafiori, who's been linked with several Italian clubs, Zinchenko, who hasn't quite been linked with clubs now that the window has really opened, but he's got 2 years left on his deal, and so on and so forth, people. It's a kick in the teeth, because I'm sure we all saw Tomiyasu in the training video. So yeah, we'll go over this Tomiyasu stuff. We'll go over the, you know, the traveling party that have gone to America, and we'll quickly browse around what's being concerned with our football club with Calafiori, Merino, and obviously Pedro Neto. If you give me 30 seconds to share my screen, people, we can get exactly into everything. Don't forget to hit the like button. Now, obviously, you all would have seen when Arsenal announced the travelling party, the players that are going to America, Tomiyasu's name wasn't there. And I said I would refrain from doing a video until there's some sort of inclination as to how long specifically Tomiyasu is out for. Apparently, he could miss all of the Gunners pre-season with a knee injury. So that means the Emirates Cup, obviously what we're doing in America, and so on and so forth, people. Apparently, Tomiyasu could miss the entirety of his side's pre-season preparations after sustaining a knee injury that kept him from joining the first team squad on the USA tour. Now, I know obviously I'm no physio, but flying at that height, it can affect the knee. But the very fact that it's seen that he can't travel and participate in training in some degree or be with the club, that's where I'm a bit, oh, what's going on there? The Japan international was not part of the 26-man squad that flew to LA with his club, confirming he would remain behind in London to receive treatment, as is the case with Kieran Tierney. No timescale was publicly announced for Tomiyasu's recovery, which we very rarely ever do, but CBS Sports sources indicate that initial estimates have him sidelined for 2 to 3 weeks. So that's probably 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, really and truly, placing his involvement in Arsenal's warm-up fixture in serious doubt. Mikel Arteta's side conclude their pre-season preparations of this upcoming season with Lyon on August the 11th for their season opener against Wolves. Should Tomiyasu miss pre-season matches in their entirety, there would inevitably be doubts about his ability to hit the ground running in a season where Arsenal are desperate to make a fast start to their title challenge. And obviously, you know, it's another setback for the 25-year-old, really. And the very fact that we hold him in high regards, clearly the manager does, and we all know his quality, but injuries have restricted him to playing 83 times in all comps, people. He's never appeared in more than 22 Premier League matches in a single season. He has missed extended runs of games on 4 separate occasions. Obviously, we know he signed a new deal, but it is what it is. Apparently, we're close to confirming the signing of Calafiori. Arsenal are close to finalising the signing of Italy international Riccardo Calafiori, though talks between his current club, Bologna, and Basel would hold a sell-on clause worth up to 50%, are holding up completion of the deal. Per CBS Sports sources, Calafiori predominantly played on the left of a 3-man defence at club level last season. At Arsenal, he could well take the inverted left-back role that was predominantly occupied by Tomiyasu at the back end of the 2023-24 season. Good problems with a fit Tomiyasu, whether it's starting or closing out games. Evidently, Timber speaks for himself, and obviously Calafiori. But yeah, there's a lot to think, people. What do you lot make of that? Some people, I assume, are tired of Tomiyasu and probably say move him on. Some people like myself would persist. But again, if this keeps being a thing, we've got something to talk about. I wonder where the club are at with Calafiori and Zinchenko if they haven't made a decision already. And obviously, we want to see the Calafiori deal done. There are some reports saying Roma Roma are threatening to sue Bologna slash Basel as well. So it's getting a bit messy. Our 26-man squad's been announced, people. As you know, the bulk of the players that have participated in the Euros and Copa America, everybody's got staggered return dates, people. So it's a good opportunity for our young players. Big up Ethan, Miles, Rojas, and many more. Charlie Patino didn't travel, which is interesting because his future is subject to speculation. That probably tells you he's on his way out. Speaking of young Highlanders with future subject to speculation, I know they're not young anymore, but Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, and Smith Rowe have all travelled while they're all linked with other clubs. You know, we haven't really got the strongest of goalkeepers to pick from. You know, David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale are still on holiday, but this is what we're going with, people. And, you know, hopefully the young players can impress and do their thing and we can get preparations underway. We all know where America is concerned. We've got Bournemouth, we've got Man United. I'm sure we've got Liverpool as well. There you have it, before obviously the Emirates Cup campaign. So it's showtime. Big up Tommy Setford. Yesterday you would have seen Arsenal officially announced he has joined Arsenal's academy, and he's actually on the plane, as you would have seen in his name listed, to go to America. Moving away from that, Romano has said talks ongoing between all parties involved to get Ricardo Calafiori deal sealed. Bologna and Basel discussing of 50% sell-on clause payment terms again today. Arsenal waiting on the green light, people. Arsenal and Bologna have scheduled more talks for tomorrow. So that was yesterday. So that means today to definitively close the transfer of Calafiori. The player is expected to undergo his medical and sign his Arsenal contract next week. Apparently, Mikel Arteta was pushing internally to sign him. There's some sources that say many people at Arsenal pointed towards our defensive record last season and said that it might not be financially prudent to go and get Calafiori. Although I don't think that's wrong, and I know Timber's obviously fit. You look at the amount of chopping and changing we had on that left-hand side, whether it was due to form, injuries, and Mikel Arteta having to adapt. It is what it is, and it's a market opportunity to enhance the squad. So why wouldn't we? So I think we're all happy to see us get the man, and none the least Mikel Arteta. In the last 24 to 48 hours, when he returned from holidays, allegedly spoke directly with Bologna's board and said, "Please let me fulfill my dream and let me go to Arsenal. I want to go to Arsenal." This was the message from Calafiori, says Fabrizio Romano. El Hilal have Gabriel Jesus and Richarlison on their target list of potential signings. I mean, the Middle East is the only way we'll probably get our money back for Gabriel Jesus, but I'd persist with him for another year. And especially if we're not signing the striker, we have to, you know, have Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. And that's just my opinion. Let me know yours, people. Mikel Merino wants to think carefully about which path to take after deciding not to renew with Sociedad. At the moment, the team that have been the most insistent are Atletico Madrid. Arsenal have made some calls and inquiries, but no official offers yet. So, as much as we hear Mikel Arteta is interested and he wants to sign him, maybe talk of an imminent bid or him being the next one through the door are probably wide of the mark. But you'd imagine once we confirm Calafiori, surely, you know, we have a bit of a focus on top of what we've got already with outgoings. Central midfield becomes the priority. I say that lightly. I think I speak for every Arsenal fan, where we say a dream would be bringing in a striker. Probably more feasible this summer would be a wide inside forward or another attacker of some degree. Who that is, where that is, I don't know, people. So we'll have to see exactly what that is. This was actually an article speaking about Merino, but unfortunately things go wrong, people. It seems like the website's frozen, so we'll keep it moving. Barcelona are focused on Nico Williams. This remains clear. Plan with more talks scheduled this week to get a green light on personal terms. After meeting Nico's agent last week, Deco has a new round of talks ready. Other targets will be discussed after the Nico deal, who's actually again been linked with Arsenal, Chelsea, and Aston Villa, folks. Apparently, Marseille have sent an initial proposal to Arsenal for Eddie Nketiah. There's no agreement close yet, but negotiations are still ongoing, people. We've been linked with Pedro Neto. Allegedly, we are in pole position to sign Neto, people, as we can offer him Champions League football. And we've held initial talks this week with his agent, and apparently the Portuguese man has made it clear he's prioritizing a transfer to Mikel Arteta's side. Now, obviously, Nico Williams be the first choice. Whether we've got the finances, let alone, you know, ahead of Barcelona, and that's another thing. Pedro Neto, someone we've been linked with several times. He's in the area where we could do with another player. We've been linked with him a lot during Mikel Arteta's time and actually before that. And the only issue you can have over Pedro Neto is injuries. And if we can help him overcome come that we're laughing. 50 million, I think that's decent value for money. Of course, you would want to haggle them down, especially if, Reece Nelson goes to West Ham, Eddie Nketiah goes to Marseille or wherever, Smith Rowe completes a move to Crystal Palace or Fulham. Indirectly, it begins to pay for itself. So that's what that article has said essentially. There, people, we ain't missed out anything, have we? Again, Eddie Nketiah allegedly wants to join Marseille. He's been persuaded by the sporting project people, and we look set to lose him. But again, if no bid's been made or agreed, then talk of him leaving is wide of the mark. West Ham are also eyeing up a move for Eddie Nketiah, and they're still consistently linked with Reece Nelson. As I just said, Aston Villa have been linked with Nico Williams as well, people, so make of that what you will. Liverpool and Tottenham have joined the race to sign Eze, allegedly, people. The 26-year-old had a brilliant season and should have played more of a significant role, but was part of the Euro squad for England. I'm sure Crystal Palace want to keep him, and we've been linked with Gurhey as well. So, when we're linked with Gurhey this last couple of days, they said we could offer Eddie Nketiah in a make-weight deal. Surely him and Smith Rowe could be touted, although if you're Crystal Palace, surely, people, maybe I'm wrong, you just want the money for Eze and Gurhey to go with Elise, but to let them all go would be silly, people. And speaking of swaps, there you have it. We're still linked with Gurhey. We're willing to allegedly offer Eddie Nketiah in a swap deal. I just think this is a case of creative journalism. If we could sign Gurhey, great. He's done well at Crystal Palace, one of the better players for England during the Euros. Respectfully to Crystal Palace, it probably is time to make the step up. Now, I don't know if he fancies a move to Arsenal beyond the obvious, because you've got Saliba and Gabriel, but I'm more than happy to welcome him. He's been linked with Liverpool. You'd imagine there's a spot there for you to grab as well. Arsenal are to make a 300k bid for Wolves goalkeeper Dan Bentley, with the Gunners hoping to clinch the deal. He's played 7 games for Wolves since joining in 2023, including coming off the bench at the Emirates. We all know apparently we're trying to get this deal done, and we seem to be at loggerheads. Apparently Wolves want 1 million. We've offered 300,000. So the clubs have to find some sort of compromise, but it is what it is. He joined Arsenal and then left, and then went to Southend. Since then, he's been at Brentford, he's been at Bristol City. Obviously, he's rocked up at Wolves at this moment in time. And he'd be another goalie, because technically we would have signed David Raya this summer. We've completed the signing of Tommy Setfoot. We've completed the signing of the Danish lad Nordgaard, and then we'd be bringing him in. So yeah, we've got a fetish for goalies this summer, essentially, people. Zebani has apparently explained why he snubbed the move to Arsenal and signed a new deal at Bournemouth. I mean, if we didn't put a bid down, what are we talking about? Allegedly, we sent scouts to watch him in the Euros, people. And apparently that's because the 21-year-old, who surely would have been aware of Arsenal's interest, could have tried his best to force the deal to happen, has instead committed his future to the Cherries. So, I mean, we'll meet you in America. But again, we're linked with a player, allegedly, or we've had interest and they sign a new deal. Everybody seems to just be throwing Arsenal and many other clubs' names into the mix just to drum up interest. So that's a bit of a non-starter. I want to be very wary of calling someone like Chido, Obi Martin, or any young player a money grabber. But apparently, finances seems to be why he's rejected staying at Arsenal Football Club. Apparently, Arsenal pulled out all the stops, sporting project. Mikel Arteta spoke to him. You'd imagine he'd play a strong role at 21's level. He's been linked with Frankfurt, Monaco, Manchester United. He's said to have visited their place, as David Ornstein has said. So yeah, man, I think it's not quite like Koza Dewberry leaving the waters, in which, don't get twisted, the club have to do better to not allow money to go through the door and find a pathway. But he's 16. In Chido's case, you're at the club, you're at his mercy. The club have offered him a pathway, in my opinion, a pro deal. Probably not to the same way of Ethan, but probably been a bit flexible with the financial demands for a young player at that moment in time. And if he still don't want to leave, if he still wants to leave, great. Big up his agent, though, because his agent has him on the books, had Scott Akpom on the books once upon a time, had Nelson, has Iwobi, has Balogun, who just completed a big move from Arsenal not too long ago. Eddie Nketiah's got a new deal, and Bukayo Saka's probably keeping the lights on in the agency. So shout out to the Elite Project Group agency. And to be fair with you, I do always say this, when it comes to your agents, if clubs don't like you, in theory, you're doing your job. So I always said, I hope Obi Martin was to stay, but if you believe your future is best served somewhere else, you've only got one life to live, man. So go out there and do what needs to be done. Bonucci has said sorry, as Juventus have missed out on Calafiori. It's now time to run up the propaganda, people. What has he said? He said, Calafiori, I'm sorry about his transfer. I would have liked to have seen him at Juventus. He's a defender who's a little different to what we're used to seeing. He plays, has personality, and fits in. We're exporting a great player who will be a reference point of the national team for the next 15 years. And he's at Arsenal Football Club. So that is fantastic news to hear. Again, let me know your thoughts on Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu's injury and what you think the fallout of that could potentially be. What are you making of our preparations for the preseason tour of America? Where are you at with Merino, Eddie Nketiah, Gurhi, and Pedro Neto? And again, people, any news, rumors, talking points that emerge, you know, I'll get vids out for you lot. But for now, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. Check out the rest of the other content. Peace.